I lost $320,000. $270,000 of that came straight out of savings and retirement accounts I had spent years building. $450,000 is what it should have been, if the money had stayed where I thought it was, if I had moved it the 1 week I seriously considered moving it. At 10 in the morning, the bankruptcy payout arrived in my inbox. I already knew the number before I opened the notification, because I had done the math myself months earlier, and then did it again, because I didn't want to accept the first answer. I refreshed the screen anyway. The number didn't change. I refreshed it again, slower this time, like maybe I had moved too fast, and the page hadn't caught up, still the same. I switched tabs and pulled up the price chart. Bitcoin, $42,000. Then went back to the payout screen and read it line by line. Principal, distribution, final amount, all of it already processed. I leaned back from the monitor, then forward again, closer, like the problem was distance. I did the math again anyway. Slow, once, then a second time. Same result, both times. I closed my eyes for a moment, just long enough to see that week again. The week everything still worked. The week I almost pulled out. The week I told myself to wait. It did not appear reckless when it started, and that's the part I keep coming back to. There was no pressure, nor red flag loud enough to make me stop walking toward it. I worked in finance. While I was not the hedge fund guy or on trading floors, I was close enough to watch what happens when people stop thinking clearly about money, and enough to believe I was immune to it. I had rules. Long-term capital stayed in index funds. Anything shorter had to justify itself on its own terms. No momentum plays, nothing that depended on someone else being more irrational than I was. If I couldn't explain where the return came from in one sentence, I didn't take the position. Crypto didn't fit into any of that. Every time someone tried to explain it to me, it sounded like a story that only worked as long as the price kept going up. So I stayed out. I watched from the side until it started appearing somewhere it didn't belong. Top-tier outlets. The kind that filter carefully, that don't put someone on camera unless there's something real behind them. This was not forums and comment sections. One founder kept appearing. Same tone every time. There was no exaggeration, nor attempts to convince anyone of anything. He gave answers that were structured and delivered like someone who had already thought through the questions before they were asked. It looked nothing like crypto. It felt like a serious finance firm. Then it came up in actual conversations from people I knew, people careful with money, people who avoided unnecessary risk, who thought in decades, not weeks. One of them brought it up casually, like it wasn't even worth a conversation. Then another. It was the same tone that was void of excitement, and without urgency either, which would have been easy to dismiss. I still wasn't interested, but I stopped ignoring it. So I looked. Properly this time, avoiding headlines and summaries. I went through the actual structure, how they held assets, what they claimed to do with them, where the returns were supposed to come from. And then I saw it, 18%. I stayed on that page longer than I expected, because for the first time, something in that space made sense to me in a language I already trusted. I did not see price appreciation, narratives about adoption, or the next wave of buyers. It was interest and yield. You make the deposit, it sits in the account, and earns interest which was paid out weekly. There was no trading required, neither was there timing to manage, and certainly no entries and exits to calculate. Suddenly, I wasn't evaluating a speculative asset. I was evaluating a yield structure, and yield structures, I understood. That's exactly where I should have stopped. I was looking for the pressure point. Where does this break? What is the thing that doesn't survive when conditions change? Because 18% doesn't exist without a cost sitting somewhere. And even after I went back through everything, slower, more critical, I couldn't locate where that cost actually was. Then the payouts started appearing, actual numbers from people I could track, week after week, screenshots, consistent, the same pattern every time, deposit, wait, and receive. There were no delays, no issues, nothing signaling that something was out of place. That did more than anything I had read, because the consistency to me was its own argument. It just kept showing up until the part of me that was still asking questions got quieter and quieter. The question I asked changed. It stopped being, "Does this make sense?" and started becoming, "Why am I not part of this yet?" I told myself I was being disciplined, that staying out was the right call, that I didn't need to participate in something I hadn't fully resolved in my own mind. But staying disciplined became harder because nothing was breaking. The people already involved were not getting punished. The system kept doing exactly what it said it will do, week after week. That's when I made the first move, $50,000. I was just testing it, not a commitment. Something I could observe from the inside without it meaning anything yet. I transferred it in, watched it settle, and didn't check it again for the rest of the day. The next morning, I logged in, and the number had moved, slightly, up. I refreshed it, and it stayed, refreshed again, still there. The second week came, same result. The third, same. My thinking suddenly changed. Once something worked the first time, it was easier for me to believe it would keep working. And once it worked 3 times in a row, it started to feel like something I could count on. So I started running the numbers. If this holds, if the structure stays stable, if this continues, what does this actually become? The answer made me uncomfortable because it was too clean and efficient, too easy to justify. That should have been the thing that stopped me, but by then, I had something stronger than logic. I had proof, and that mattered more than the questions I still couldn't fully answer. So I added more. Each move justified by another week of payouts, another confirmation that the system worked. And every time that question came back, how does this sustain 18%? I had something to push it away with. Everything stacked together until the doubt wasn't gone, but it had gotten quiet enough that I stopped listening for it. The payouts kept coming, the people around me kept getting paid, and the coverage kept reinforcing what I had already decided to believe. For 1 year, it was enough. Bitcoin started dropping, slow at first, then hard. And that's when everyone tried to leave at the same time. I opened the app, checked my balance, and it was exactly where I expected it to be. So I went straight to withdrawal, just to test how easy it was to exit. I entered an amount, confirmed it, and closed the app. Hours later, it showed as pending. I opened Discord and went to the official support channel, where the messages were already stacked. The same words repeating over and over. Pending. Anyone else stuck? Been a day. No gaps between them, just more pouring in. The support responses started appearing shortly after, the same wording copy-pasted into a feed moving too fast to follow. Processing as fast as possible. High volume causing delays. Your coins will be on the way soon. I went back to my withdrawal, still pending. The thought came clearly. Pull everything out, not later, right now. I opened the withdrawal screen and hovered over it, and then I didn't move. I checked the balance instead, which was slightly lower than the last time I looked, though nothing appeared visibly broken. More messages in the feed, more delays, and then a pinned response appeared, enabling whitelisting for security, a 24 to 48 hour hold on top of time already running. Then I checked the last payout, and it had landed, on schedule, exactly like every other week. That didn't make sense. Delays everywhere, messages stacking, people unable to move anything, but payouts still hitting on time. I stayed on that long enough to convince myself it meant something. If payouts are still coming, nothing is actually broken. That was enough, and I waited. Days later, the withdrawal cleared. Full amount. That seemed to explain everything, or at least it felt like it did. So I moved it back. All of it, fully in, with no hesitation this time, because the hesitation had already been answered. The system had worked, and I had been proven right to wait. But Bitcoin kept dropping, faster. The delays stretched from 3 days to 7, and I was watching it happen to other people in the feed, feeling something I didn't want to name. I opened the withdrawal page again, saw my balance still showing as available, and stayed on that screen long enough to act, but I didn't act. I closed it, went back to the balance, then to the last payout, then back to the balance again, and somewhere in that loop, the moment passed. Not a decision I made consciously, just a moment I didn't move through, and then it was behind me. The announcement appeared without warning. Withdrawals paused, effective immediately, with no timeline, no explanation beyond that, and no indication of when or whether anything would change. I opened the app and my balance was still there. The same layout I had looked at hundreds of times, except the withdrawal button was gone. Just withdrawals unavailable. I went to Discord and it wasn't controlled anymore. Messages moving too fast to follow, the same question appearing in every variation. Can't withdraw. Is this real? Did anyone actually get out? Then a pinned response appeared from the platform. Due to extreme market conditions, withdrawals are temporarily paused. Temporary. I sat with that word long enough to let it do what it was designed to do. Hold everything together, keep the panic at a manageable distance. Temporary means nothing is lost. Temporary means I still have money, but I just can't touch it right now. That's what I made myself believe. The Bitcoin price didn't feel relevant anymore because there was nothing I could do with the information. The number on my screen didn't move. It just sat there, locked, and I refreshed it twice and nothing changed either time. The payout stopped the following week with no announcement and no explanation, and nobody from the platform addressed it directly. That's when I could finally see it clearly, without needing to think it through or justify anything. This was not a delay. I opened the terms of service and went through it slowly. The custody and ownership, assets held on the platform. They were not mine, at least not in the way I had understood them to be mine. I went back to the account screen and my balance was still showing, still the same number, but unreachable. News links started appearing in Discord shortly after. Actual coverage, the same name everywhere, and the same words appearing together. Liquidity, exposure, risk. Words I knew professionally, words that don't resolve themselves once they appear in that combination. I didn't need the details. I already knew the shape of where it was going. The email notification pinged exactly 1 month later. Bankruptcy filing. Bankruptcy. I froze for 3 full seconds before I clicked it open. The document loaded and I scrolled slowly. The first legal phrase hit, then the second landed even heavier. I was pacing back and forth now. Then I reached the payout terms. 60 cents on the dollar, locked at $20,000 per Bitcoin, the price from when everything stopped moving. My average entry had been 37,000. My throat went dry. I grabbed my calculator and entered the numbers once. 68% loss flashed on the screen. No. I entered them again, slower this time, double-checking every digit. 68% gone. This was different from pending or delayed. This was permanently gone. I closed the app and didn't open it again that day. Didn't go back to Discord because there was nothing left to confirm. The only thing that hadn't caught up yet was the price on the chart. 7 months later, Bitcoin started moving up. 23,000, then 25, then higher, slow at first, then steady, month after month, without a reversal that mattered. I watched it the way you watch something that's hurting you, and you still can't look away from, because every move upward made the loss worse. Not just the capital, but the position I no longer held, and the recovery I was watching entirely from the outside. 19 months after the freeze, the payout came through the bankruptcy process. I already knew the number. I had calculated it months earlier and checked my math twice. But I still opened the notification just to confirm it matched. It did, exactly, with no adjustment and no partial recovery I had missed somewhere. I didn't check the Bitcoin price right after, even though I already knew it was sitting at 42,000. I just sat there for a while, not processing or analyzing, just holding the weight of all of it at once. The capital, what it had been worth the week I almost moved it, what it would have been worth the morning I read the payout letter, what it would have compounded into over the years I had already spent building it. All of it, present at the same time. And underneath all of it, the thing I kept returning to, not the mechanics, not the 18%, not the custody terms, or the withdrawal delays, or any of the technical details. Just one thing. Before it broke, I knew. Not with evidence I could have shown anyone, Not in a way I could have explained, but I knew. I had the thought clearly, more than once, and I closed the screen anyway. That's the part that doesn't go away.